सर्ववेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविंदं परमानंदं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। विवेकचूडामणि श्लोक 115। अभावना वा विपरीत भावना असंभावना विप्रतिपत्तिरस्याः संसर्गयुक्तं न विमुञ्चति ध्रुवम् विक्षेपशक्तिः क्षपयत्यजस्रम्। आवरण शक्ति produces 4 types of obstacles. To a student of Vedanta, they are abhavana, not understanding. Vedanta does not make any sense to some people. It is abhavana. Viparita bhavana. What is told is something, and what the person understands is something else. And he thinks he has understood Vedanta properly. It is viparita bhavana. Then asambhavana, not getting convinced, doubting the teaching of Vedanta. And vipratipatti, not agreeing with the teaching of Vedanta and start arguing. These are 4 obstacles. They are presented by avarana shakti. As long as a person is under the spell of avarana shakti, these 4 obstacles do not leave him. Sometimes it may not be all the 4. It may be any one of the 4. Even one among these 4 is enough to delay the understanding of a Vedanta student. Look into the verse. Abhavana va, either abhavana or viparita bhavana or asambhavana or vipratipatti. Any of these 4. Asyaha samsargayuktam dhruvam na vimunchati. Dhruvam na vimunchati. Any of these 4 obstacles do not leave a person quickly. It bothers for a considerably long time. Who asyaha samsargayuktam, one who is under the spell of avarana shakti. Avarana shaktehe samsargayuktam purusham dhruvam na vimunchati. These obstacles do not leave a person easily as long as he is under the spell of avarana shakti. As long as Avarana Shakti is active, even Vikshepa Shakti torments him. Therefore, Acharya says, Vikshepa Shaktihi Ajasram Kshapayati. Even Vikshepa Shakti Ajasram constantly Kshapayati torments him, troubles him. Next verse 116. In this book, in some books, numbers may vary slightly. Ajnanamalastya jadatvanidra pramadamudhatvamukhaastamo gunaha एतैः प्रयुक्तो न हि वेत्ति किञ्चित् निद्रालुवत्स्तम्भवदेव तिष्ठति. Maya has three gunas: Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. The author began with the Rajas. While discussing Rajas, he discussed the Shakti of Rajas, the power of Rajas, namely Vikshepa Shakti. Then he discussed Tamas. While discussing Tamas, he discussed the power of Tamas, Avarana Shakti. And now he is summing up Tamas. The effects of Tamas. What qualities does Tamas or Tamoguna cause? Ajnanam, ignorance. Alasyam, laziness. Jadatva, dullness. Nidra, sleep. Pramada, carelessness. Mudhatva, delusion. Mukhaha, etc. There are so many other undesirable qualities that are the effect of Tamoguna. Tamogunaha, they are the effects of Tamoguna. As long as Tamas is predominant in a person, as long as an individual is overpowered by Tamoguna, he does not understand the significance of spiritual pursuit. He does not understand the significance of the pursuit of moksha. That is why such people may ask you, why do you listen to Viveka Chudamani? What do you get? She doesn't understand what you get, because his mind is overpowered by Tamoguna, and therefore he does not see the worth of spiritual pursuit. Therefore, the Acharya says, Etaihi prayuktaha, one who is overpowered by these qualities, etaihi ajnanadibhihi prayuktaha, one who is under the clutches of these qualities, held by these qualities, nahi veti kinchit, he does not understand even a little bit when it comes to the spiritual pursuit. He does not even understand the significance of Atmajnana, the significance of spiritual pursuit, because it is blocked by the tamas. He is as good as sleeping from the spiritual standpoint. Nidraluvat, he is like a nidral, just like a sleeping person. A person in deep sleep does not know even if the sun rises. Likewise, a tamasika person does not know the significance of understanding the absolute truth. Then you try to push him to spirituality. He does not move an inch in the spiritual direction. You may give him a spiritual book, Bhagavad Gita, or some other book, so that he might read the book and get interest. He does not even open the book. You may ask him to do japa or go to temple. He will not do it, because his mind is very much overpowered by tamas. Therefore, he does not move an inch, even if you push him into spiritual pursuit. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, he remains like a pillar. Stambhavadeva tishtati. A stambha, a pillar. Even if you push it, it won't move an inch. This man is like that. Stambhavat tishtati. From the spiritual standpoint, in the spiritual direction, he does not progress even an inch. Thus, the author concluded Tamoguna. Already we have discussed Rajas and Tamas. Now, Sattva Guna. Sattva. While discussing Sattva, the author classifies Sattva into two, Vishuddha Sattva and Mishra Sattva. Vishuddha Sattva means a pure Sattva, a Sattva which is not contaminated by Rajas and Tamas. A Sattva which is free from the influence of Rajas and Tamas. Then there is Mishra Sattva, mixed Sattva. Sattva which is mixed up with Rajas and Tamas. A Sattva which is influenced by Rajas and Tamas. Even the Mishra Sattva is of two types, Durbala Sattva and Prabala Sattva. Durbala Sattva means there is Sattva, but Rajas and Tamas are more powerful in such a way that they overpower Sattva. That is Durbala Sattva. When a person has Durbala Sattva, he is a pure samsari. He does not take interest in Atmajnana. He is a pure samsari. In due course of time, because of some punya, he might get Prabala Sattva. Sattva becomes stronger and it overpowers Tamas and Rajas. Still there is Tamas and Rajas. The Sattva is slightly under the influence of Tamas and Rajas. Still Sattva is powerful. Then he starts manifesting the Sattvika qualities. Like Viveka, Vairagya, etc. Shraddha, Bhakti, etc. Then he becomes a mumukshu. He seeks for moksha. He seeks Atmajnana. That is Chitta Shuddhi. When Sattva becomes strong, Prabala, he has all qualities that are desirable in a mumukshu. That is what we generally call Chitta Shuddhi. Sattva becoming stronger in such a way that it overpowers Rajas and Tamas. Still it is Mishra Sattva. There is still Tamas and Rajas. That is why he is still a samsari. He is not a mukta yet. So now this person pursues Atmajnana, and in due course of time he gets Atmajnana. Then he becomes Vishuddha Sattva. Because the Atmajnana removes the powers of both tamas and rajas, then the tamas and rajas cannot cause samsara in such a person. That person is called Vishuddha Sattva. He has Vishuddha Sattva, pure Sattva. So, we can sum up this. If there is Durbala Sattva, he is a pure samsari. If there is Prabala Sattva, he is a mumukshu. He wants moksha. He seeks self-knowledge. And when he gets self-knowledge, he gets Vishuddha Sattva. This is the development of the discussion of Sattva. Sattvam Vishuddham Jalavat Tathapi Tabhyam Militva Saranaya Kalpate Yatratma Bimbah Pratibimbitas San Prakashayatyarka Ivakhilam Jadam. Sattvam Vishuddham, Vishuddha Sattva. When Sattva is Vishuddha, when Sattva is not associated with the Rajas and Tamas, then it does not cause samsara. Instead, it causes moksha. It facilitates moksha. It enables moksha. Therefore, Vishuddham Sattvam Mokshaya Kalpate. We have to supply this. Vishuddham Sattvam Mokshaya Kalpate. Vishuddha Sattva facilitates moksha. Tathapi, yet, Tabhyam Militva, when the Sattva is associated with the previous two, Rajas and Tamas, then even the Sattva contributes to samsara instead of contributing to moksha. Saranaya Kalpate, even Sattva contributes to samsara when it is overpowered by Rajas and Tamas. An example is given, Jalavat, like water, pure water. If we drink pure water, it contributes to our health. One can remain healthy if he drinks pure water. The same water, if it is contaminated, the same water can cause diseases. Likewise, pure Sattva facilitates moksha. when it is associated with the rajas and tamas, causes samsara, does not enable moksha. Thus, the author introduced Shuddha Sattva and Mishra Sattva. In the Mishra Sattva also, he has introduced Durbala Sattva. The Durbala Sattva contributes to samsara. He does not even think of getting moksha. Now, Rajas and Tamas had Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti respectively. Likewise, what is the Shakti of Sattva Guna? Sattva has a Jnana Shakti. Now one may ask a question. Maya is Jada, insentient. It doesn't have sentience. Since Maya is a Jada, even the components of Maya should be Jada. Therefore, Sattva is also Jada. It is true. All three gunas are Jada. They do not have sentience. Sattva also does not have sentience. Then how can it have Jnana Shakti? How can it produce Jnana? How can it enable knowledge? Then the author says, though Sattva is a Jada, it facilitates the reflection of the Chaitanya of the Atma. Atma is a Chaitanya. Atma has a sentience. The sentience of Atma reflects on Sattva. The reflection of sentience is possible only in Sattva. It is not possible in Rajas and Tamas. Just like the sun cannot reflect on any rugged, rough surface. The sun can reflect on a polished surface like a mirror or a glass. Likewise, Atma Chaitanya cannot reflect on Rajas and Tamas. It can reflect on Sattva. That is the special feature of Sattva. When the Atma Chaitanya reflects on Sattva, the Sattva also seem to be sentient. Because of the sentience of the reflection of Atma. Because of the sentience gained by the reflection of Atma, the Sattva becomes capable of knowledge, producing knowledge of various objects. See the verse. Yatra atmabimbaha pratibimbitas san. Yatra, yasmin sattve, in which sattva, atmabimbaha, the Atma is a bimba. In Sanskrit, bimba and pratibimba are antonyms. Bimba means the original, and pratibimba means the reflection. What reflects is called bimba, and the reflection is called pratibimba. So Atma is bimba. It reflects on the sattva. Pratibimbitas san, reflecting on the sattva. Through the reflection, the Atma illumines everything. Akhilam jadam prakashayati. Every jada, every insentient object, the Atma illumines by reflecting on the sattva. Therefore, the sattva itself does not illumine anything. What really illumines is the Atma. But the Atma illumines everything through sattva, by reflecting on sattva. That is what happens in our mind. In our mind there is sattva. Therefore we are able to know various things. But the sattva itself doesn't illumine anything. The Atma Chaitanya reflects in our mind the sattva in our mind, and by reflecting in our mind, the Atma Chaitanya illumines all things. Therefore, when we know, we think our mind knows. But what really facilitates knowledge is not the mind. The mind is only a medium. What really enables the knowledge, what really illumines everything is the Atma Tattva, the Atma Chaitanya. An example is given, Arkaha Iva, like the sun. At night, we think the moonlight illumines everything. But the moon itself does not have light. The moon borrows light from the sun and illumines the world at night. But who really illumines is not the moon, because the moon receives the light from the sun. Therefore, moon is only a seeming illuminer. The true illuminer is the sun. Likewise, we think our senses illumine, our mind illumines, but what truly illumines is the Atma. The mind and senses do not have their own sentience.